Hello and welcome to the Sporting Tribune today on KIRN 670 AM in Southern California, 98.5 The Bet in Las Vegas, and the Hawaii Sports Radio Network. By the way, joined by the crew. The crew's changing, but we are having so much fun with the crew. We got Beav, we've got David Bloom, we've got Grant Mona. We have a lot going on today. And again, because we've had two sweeps in two of these conference finals, one in the Western Conference Finals in the National Hockey League, the Vegas Golden Knights going on to the Stanley Cup Finals, and the New York Knicks sweeping the Cleveland Cavaliers in the Eastern Conference out in the NBA. Not as much to talk about, but again, we are one step closer to finding out who's going to be playing each other in the NBA Finals and the Stanley Cup Final. With that being said, Grant, Mona, how are you doing, my friend?
I am doing very well. I am very upset about people getting mad at a canine about a dog, so we're going to talk about that. It's really good to have David back on. Obviously, we had a lot of fun with John and Michael and Beav on last night's show talking about Shebang and Drake's and Jared McCain's dances. I don't know if we'll get that tonight. But yeah, there's still a lot to talk about. I know that it's kind of like this period where the Knicks caused us to not have another series to talk about. Actually, it was the Cavs that caused us to not talk about it.
Yeah.
But still a lot to talk about. Clippers' fifth pick. Decisions. What are they going to do? Like I said, the Tulsa Drillers bat dog, which I am in full support of, and the Dodgers themselves. And obviously, like you said, the NHL. And we still have another series going on, the Spurs Thunder, which I also have some thoughts about and why it's kind of underwhelming. But in any case, it's good to see you guys.
Beav, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. Today is no basketball, so it's kind of dry outside. But I did see some OTAs in which reporters are out here asking quarterbacks, are they thick with a C, with two C's instead of a K, which is very odd to ask Drake May at the podium. We got some Eagles news, and again with the bad dog, man. The dog, it's hard out here for dogs. The way everything is shaking out here in regards to that, but it's going to be a great show tonight.
David, good to see you. How are you doing, my friend?
Good to be back. I'm doing wonderful. It's blame the Cleveland Cavaliers for we don't get any basketball tonight. It's been nothing but excitement and playoff atmosphere all these weeks, and now what do? We're kind of and blame Cleveland. I think we were talking a few weeks ago. I think I want to say it was John that brought it up, that was talking about, I think I've got Cleveland in this.
You did say that. I didn't bring that up last night.
And what it was 4 games later, Cleveland, all right, you know what? For Cleveland's sake, analytically, they're up 3-1 right now. All right?
That's right.
Look at the numbers.
Oh,
they're up
goodness.
3-1, and they pretty much won that first game all the way till the end. So they basically swept them. You're feeling great if you're Cleveland. I'm happy to be here. I'm happy to defend all the bat dogs out there.
Yes.
Defend all the people, go against, all the people that are claiming that the dog was in the wrong. Dog's doing his job. He's an employee. You hired him for a reason. He's doing his job. You want to deal with your player safety? Thank you. Figure that out. But the dog's doing his job. You want him to go get the bat when the AB's done? That's the gimmick.
All right. Listen, by the way, we are going to get into the bad dog conversation, the bad dog controversy in segment 2. Want to get some things handled first here.
Arash, did you see this? James Harden is at Madison Square Garden for the analytical finals.
There we go. Listen,
there it is.
Kenny Atkinson, apparently.
Wow.
I have never heard that. By the way, and listen, I totally understand the players want to say, like, we can still come back, we can win. You really can't, moments after getting swept, say you are the better team. You kind of have to take that, loss. You got to take the L, and for at least one day, not say, according to stacks, according to the, analytics or whatever, it was wild, these post-game press conferences with the Cavs. But the Cavs are out. Let's get into this Game 6 coming up with San Antonio. And again, we didn't really know it at the time when we were talking about Victor Wembanyama following Game 5. Not only was it a very embarrassing performance on the court, and again, as we try to figure out what happened to the player that we saw in Game 1, we didn't realize while we were doing the show that he did not talk to the media. And again, when you're talking about Victor Wembanyama being the face of not only the franchise, obviously the face of the Spurs, but potentially, and we all thought like the big storyline following that game one is this the new face of the league? And for, you could say what you want about LeBron or, players that you don't like. Those guys, whether it's Steph Curry, whether it's Kevin Durant, whether it's LeBron, in the NBA playoffs, certainly in the conference finals, they know they got to talk to the media, whether they play a good game, whether they play a bad game. And Grant, just, again, I mentioned this. I fully expect them to have a big game 6. I could be wrong. And by the way, I think we all want to see a game 7. But, for him to have that kind of performance on the court and not even address it post game, really rough.
Yeah, I think that's pretty rough, especially from a guy who has been really good with media over his brief career so far. Wemby has always been the one to talk even after losses, after bad performances. Now, I don't know what's going on in his personal life. Maybe there is something going on. I mean, I'm not going to jump to any conclusions, but we have to go based off what we know. And the fact that he played probably the worst I've seen him play in a long time, and to not have any words after that. And it's not about, like, as a reporter, I love being able to hear their perspective and ask the questions that we would like to know. But it's another thing just optically, like, to walk away from such a bad loss. I mean, we got to understand the magnitude of that loss that they had. I mean, that was a chance for them to have an opportunity to close out a series at home against the defending champions if they would have won that game. And the whole team, I'm not going to put it all on Wemby because there's a lot of guys that were to blame for that loss, but Wemby is the guy that we always point to, and he's the guy that we should point to. I mean, when he has that type of ability and when he shows up with a dud like that in a pivotal game 5, like, this was a game where if Wemby did have a magical performance, we would have been talking about this just like we're going to talk about game 1 of this series for a long time. It's going to be on NBA TV replays. It's going to be on your Twitter feed. It's going to be on all of these reels about, remember what Wemby did in game 5? And he just did not show up. And the fact that he left the room and just went straight to the hotel or went to the plane, whatever they did, I just think it's a really bad look. I mean, you got to face the music after you lose these games. This is not how it works. And again, this is his first playoff run. This is kind of his first bad playoff loss. This is his first bad game in a playoff loss. You can go to the Blazers series and say what you want about that, or the Timberwolves series, but this is really like the first pivotal loss of his NBA career. And it just disappointed me because I know how good he is with media over the course of a season. So again, they didn't fine him. I don't think they will. I think we got something from Chris Haynes. He said why Wemby wasn't fined. It's, he was voted by the Pro Basketball Writers Association for being one of the most accommodating players to media. So they basically just let him off the hook this time. But I guarantee you if he does it again, he will get fined. But it is weird. It is weird because I haven't seen this type of mentality from Wemby at all.
Yeah. Beav, your thoughts on Victor, just not only the performance he had, but again, not facing the music post game.
It's a different tune that Victor's going to hear if they do not win this series. It's actually going to go back to this moment of not facing the media after the loss in OKC. So we can look forward to that. But with Victor being the face of the league, it's a telltale sign if the league only gave him a warning instead of finding them. Most of the time when people do not face the media, they find quick, fast, in a hurry. Adam Silver do not play about that money. But looking at Victor, you can tell he is a face of the league. So they gave him a slap on the wrist, which going forward is going to, motivate him and kind of mold him in a different light instead of being just, hey, I lost, I don't want to talk. But I have, I would say, a kind of a rational thought in regards to this, that Victor's going to be locked in not only for the next game, also for game 7. And I feel that Victor is going to put this team on his back. As much as we slander him for not being in the paint, going home cooked meals is going to change the tide. And I feel like the Spurs are going to take care of business in the next game coming up.
And David, your thoughts?
Look, I mean, winning fixes everything. It doesn't matter if you skip the media. It doesn't matter if you had a bad game. Nothing matters if you win. And if you lose, then all we're going to talk about, you're right, is Wemby didn't go to the media. Wemby didn't address the writers. Wemby is being a sore loser. He's not admitting to what's happened. He cost them the game. But if they win, no one's going to think about game 5. No one's going to think about, oh, remember that time when Wemby had a bad game and then didn't go to the media, then followed it up with 2 30-plus games? That's what we'll talk about. You get to change people's recency bias every single game. And no matter what has happened in your franchise, no matter where you've gone, winning will fix everything. And so I feel like if I'm Victor Wembanyama, I'm not focused on, oh, God, what do I do? How do I make my image better? I'm just focused on, I need to win these games. Because now I have put myself in a situation where losing only hurts me more. And that's what it is to be the face of the league. I mean, look at LeBron. We still talk about a finals record with LeBron.
Yeah.
Like, that's what it is to be the face of the league. People will count your losses like they're counting your drinks. And Victor's never been in a situation where we're counting the losses. We're saying, this is where he didn't show up. This is where he didn't show up. This is where he didn't show up. He's so used to the praise and the glory and the, oh my God, this guy's 7'4" and he can drill threes like Steph Curry. But now that it's criticism and it's, hey, you are kind of costing this team a title run, I don't know how to respond. I remember when I was a child and the Los Angeles Clippers lost Game 5 to the Spurs in the first round on
I remember that.
Still to this day on a pretty bad call. I'm not going to lie. I was miserable. And that was the first round, and we'd end up winning the series. I can't imagine what it's like the first time playing in a conference finals game where you have been put on such a pedestal and you have a bad game, and now everybody's talking. I don't want to talk to the media, but I get it. He's a wonderful human, as we can see, and if there's more going on, then, it's not for us to say, but you get it. I wouldn't want to do that. So if he goes Game 6 and they win, and Game 7 and they win, no one's going to talk about this.
Hey, guys, here's the reality of it. We're all a part of the media now in terms of having this a talk show and being on the air right now. The majority of fans, the vast majority of fans, don't care about the media. Like, they do not care if players talk to us or not. And again, I think, I've always felt that we're sort of helping the fans out. Like, if a coach, right, if the coach has a tough game in terms of his play calling, or if a player has a bad game, the fans want to know what happened. So we are the vehicle to ask the players and to ask the coaches what happened. But I certainly have seen sort of a change over these last, 5-10 years where they don't want to hear the media complaining about so-and-so not talking or no commenting, or certainly like you go to the most recent example of this is the Vegas Golden Knights. And by the way, this was so weird because the Vegas Golden Knights, following defeating the Ducks and advancing to the Western Conference Finals, so a moment that they should be happy about, and there's not going to be that many tough questions. I mean, they just defeated and eliminated the Ducks to go to the conference finals. They refused to talk. They just went on the plane, and they were, I mean, the coach was docked 6 figures. The team lost a second round draft pick. Like, in the big scheme of things, probably not worth it, but they have not lost a game since in terms of them going on the sweep the conference finals. But again, the response from the vast majority of fans, certainly the Vegas Golden Knights fans, was, who cares that they don't have to talk to you? And so that's the interesting thing here. While I still obviously think, by the way, it's part of their jobs. It is negotiated into the CBA of these players where they have to talk to the media. And so, from time to time, and Grant and Beav have done a good job chronicling this with the Clippers. If certain if they're not made available, it is part of the contract. And so they do have to do that. But I just think it's important to note the vast majority of fans, unfortunately, do not care. I want to switch gears before we, listen, when we come back, we're going to have a lot of fun with the Bat Dog. Before we talk about the Bat Dog with the Dodgers, Grant, I want to start with you about I guess the turnaround of the Dodgers and the way that they have performed. And one of the bigger stories, and again, you got Shohei Ohtani, and obviously we can talk about the way he performed tonight. But Pages, the way that Andy Pages has played, obviously, prior to this season, just a really great defensive player, was thought of as a offensive liability. You go to the World Series, and it's like, man, obviously they need him out there because of what he could do defensively, but it's almost like a lost that bat. His turnaround this season, I'm trying to remember like the last time I have seen a player do this, because again, for him to work his way to the number 2 in a lineup that coming into the season, Shohei Ohtani, Kyle Tucker, Freddie Freeman, Mookie Betts, Will Smith. I mean, if you could touch on what you have seen from him and the team this year.
Yeah, Andy has had such an interesting career path because he came in as this corner outfielder that was huge. Actually, I mean, if I show you clips of him in the minor leagues, he was actually a heavy set guy. He was stocky, and they were like, oh, this guy's going to be, a right fielder or a left fielder. He's never going to have the speed to be a center fielder. He's never going to be a speed threat or a dynamic threat like that. And he could always hit the cover off the baseball in the minor leagues, and he was always an enticing prospect in that manner. But he was going through struggles in the minor leagues, and he ended up losing all this weight and getting in shape and focusing on his diet and really honing in on being a dynamic center fielder as opposed to just a right fielder. And, when he came up to the Dodgers, obviously he was very lauded for his bat, but now we're seeing him put basically all of the tools together. He is lean, he is physical, he is strong, he has good speed in the outfield. A knock on Andy Pages last year, Arash, you remember this, so even in 2024, was that he wasn't that good of a defender, right? You could put him in center field, but he would misread fly balls, he wouldn't get great jumps, and they couldn't really use him as an everyday center fielder because of that. We always knew that he could hit, but just maybe not consistently. Now he's getting great reads off the bat. He's using his speed to get to the gaps to fly down or track down these fly balls. And not just that, but his approach at the plate has just improved so much to where, there was a lot of times where he would fly open, he would pull off of breaking balls away in the zone. Now he's staying on that. He's, keeping the bat path longer through the zone, going the other way with it. And when he does make contact, he's staying through it a lot more, and that allows him to get more power. And we're seeing he's hitting over 300. He started the season off 380. I think he still leads the MLB in RBIs as we're talking right now. And it's just his footwork, his ability to be more of a complete hitter has transformed his game, not just on the defensive end, but on the offensive end. And it's paying dividends for this Dodgers team because as much as John Browner doesn't want to admit it, there are guys that are underperforming on this Dodgers team, even though they're winning a lot of games right now. And Andy Pages kind of steadied that for that first part of the season where Freddie was struggling and Shohei was struggling and Mookie is trying to get out of it. So Andy has been a godsend for this Dodgers team, and you can absolutely say that he's one of the top 5, I'd say top 6 outfielders in baseball right now because of the completeness of a player that he is. And again, I didn't expect that from Andy coming into this season. I was like, oh, if he hits 270 with 25 plus home runs like he did last year, perfectly fine. Now it's like, okay, this guy may start in the All-Star game. He may be a guy that we look at the end of the season, it's like, oh my goodness, the Dodgers found a diamond in the rough here. So he has just risen to the level of a star now, where I was just like, oh, he's a solid center fielder. He'll be good on this star-laden Dodgers team, and now he's elevated way past that.
Grant. Go ahead, Beav.
I was going to say, looking at this Dodgers team, something that I like to summarize this team or this season is going to be called, it's going to be called the other guys. And if you're looking at that, you notice that Freeman was struggling, Shohei and all these other folks were struggling. You're starting to now pay attention to the other guys on the Dodgers that's now starting to step up when the team is in a rut. That's why me as a Dodger fan, I said, I'm not really worried about it because as we know, when teams win championships, right? The first championship is nothing but the stars, right? The second championship, you start to see a little player start to peek their heads in every now and again. Now, when you're going for a third championship, this is when you really see what a team looks like because your stars are going to be there, but they're always not going to show up. But now we're going to see what the forming system looks like. What do these other players look like? Because you can hide behind stars for so long until now it's time to show up and you're starting to see it, right? So with Andy, he can definitely be that type of all-star we're looking for this year. He's having a great year. I can't knock it. And the Dodgers needed help in the center field, right? Because it's only so much we can do out there. So they're stepping up. They're taking care of business. And like I said to Arash and the rest of the folks, just relax. It's going to be all right.
Yeah, you should very much so relax. But, when you have a guy like Pages, who is coming from that corner outfield spot, just mechanically, you think of a guy with a heavy bat. You think of a guy with slow legs, almost like he's going to grow up and be like Jorge Soler or maybe even, God forbid, Joey Gallo. And you just think, okay, power, not that high average, not great contact, but hitting over 300. That's not – you don't understand how hard that is in Major League Baseball. Over 300, leading up there in RBIs, 12 home runs. That's not somebody who has a heavy bat. It reminds me a lot, and obviously I'm getting ahead of myself here, but it reminds me of Judge, even last season, where this is the power guy. Judge will spread the ball to all fields, but it's always going to go over the fence. And, hey, this guy's hitting for some of the best. This guy could win the batting title. And it's like, oh, all of a sudden, these guys that are supposed to have a heavy bat are starting to have great bat to ball skills. And now you have a guy like Pages who is starting to emulate some of his teammates, like a Shohei, like a Freddie, even like a Mookie, or even, I'd say Will Smith, where you've got the power, you can hit the ball to all fields, but I can put the ball in play. I can put the bat on the ball. I can hit for average. One thing Shohei will do, obviously, I guess a down season, if you want to say that for Shohei Ohtani of all people. But one thing he'll do is he'll hit for average. He is a great contact hitter above being able to send the ball 600 feet to the outfield. And Pages is he's starting to emulate that. He's starting to find a career that is more than just tracking balls down in center field, is more than just a gadget guy. It's, I'm going to stand in this box and I'm going to hit 299, 300 consistently. I mean, now we're getting into June and everyone wants to talk about the law of averages, but he's on a winning baseball team and he's not doing this in, some godforsaken ball club like the Angels or something. He's doing this on the
I wish
world
Michael were here
Dodgers.
to hear that, man.
Oh, Michael and I will have a wonderful conversation eventually about this. But I'm outnumbered here and I take it. But when you have a season like this, buried in a lineup that the Dodgers have, where you are fighting for a roster spot against Hall of Famers and perennial All-Stars, it's put up or shut up. It's either hit the ball, become a valuable player, have a great WAR, or sink to the bottom of the bench and be the gadget guy, be the guy they call on, no pun intended, for those moments. And Pages, give him credit, he has created a career for himself where he can either stay on this team, win championships, become a mainstay, or he can go get a lot of money from a team that is looking for a younger star that is ready to take the face of a franchise. So, the Dodgers, the rich keep getting richer, as we'll say.
That's right. All right. The segue here is that Pages was a great prospect. The Dodgers have great prospects. And so everyone's always focusing on these Dodger prospects in these minor league games. There's also something else that folks are interested with the minor league games. It's the bad dogs. And when we come back, we're going to tell you why the dog is always right. The dog has his day. When we come back, we will get into the bad dog right here on KIRN 670 AM in Southern California, 98.5 The Bet in Las Vegas, and the Hawaii Sports Radio Network.
It's all coming together. Piles of statistics, pages of box scores, years of wisdom right here if I could just find my pen.
What's up?
Oh, I'm just compiling all the top sports scores, news, and odds so I can make the very best bets.
Oh, me too. And done.
What?
BetOnline.ag, the best online betting site.
BetOnline.ag.
A little easier than what you got going on here.
Thanks.
Join today and Use promo code BETNOW to receive your 50% welcome bonus at betonline.ag.
Welcome back to the Sporting Tribune today on KIRN 670 AM in Southern California, 98.5 The Bet in Las Vegas, and the Hawaii Sports Radio Network. Listen, this is a story that I admit I did not know a lot about, but when Grant Mona is passionate about a story, I got to do my homework. So in between the break, I did look at the footage. I am all caught up on the bat dog controversy. However, I will cede the floor to the esteemed producer, director, co-host of the show. Grant, explain to me why the bat dog is in the news right now.
Well, if you're on our live stream at Sporting Trib on X, you will be seeing Kendall George, who is a very top prospect. Like, he is one of the Dodgers' best prospects, in my opinion. I've been a fan of his ever since they drafted him. You're seeing him jump over this dog that sprints out of the dugout. And the reason for that is that in the minor leagues, they like to have some fun. If you ever want to go out to a fun game, go out to an Ontario Tower Buzzers game. I highly recommend it. They don't have a bat dog, but the Tulsa Drillers definitely do. That is the AA affiliate of the Dodgers. And this bat dog is very trained. They go out, they get the bats, they retrieve it, just like a bat boy would do, but they just use a dog to make it fun and cute and have a good time. And this dog shot out of there to go do his job, to go get the bat and bring it back. And Kendall George scored, and he was trying to get to the dugout, and the dog went right under him. He had to jump over the dog and in turn hurt his knee. And he was hobbling, cursing, yelling at the dog. I wouldn't know if it was at the dog or at himself, but he was very, very upset. And this was a national story. I mean, everyone picked this up. It was on social media, and people were talking about it as if the dog was a mass murderer and all this stuff. And I'm sitting here, and as of Wednesday night, we have gotten the news that, yes, Kendall George did get injured. He injured his knee. And listen, the initial news was that he had a significant knee injury. He suffered a patella tear or a torn ACL, which is very devastating. He would be out for the year if that was the case. And now we kind of know Fabian Ardaya, who does a great job covering the Dodgers, he came out and said that there is no ligament damage. The dog did not hurt his knee significantly. Now, they're still going to get first and second opinions by doctors and all that stuff, but the MRI showed that there is no tear of the patella tendon. So what happened was they suspended this dog. They suspended the bat dog program. And I am here to stand up for canines around the world. I'm here to stand up for dogs around the world. I love dogs. There is a beautiful dog by the name of Mako that I love very much in my life. She is only 4 years old. She just turned 4 years old. She's a beautiful German Shepherd. I wish I might put a picture up. And I'm going to stand up for her and dogs all around the world. That dog was just doing its job, and it got suspended for hurting Kendall George. Now, listen, I understand that George was probably upset that, you know, his season was over. He's a prospect trying to make the major leagues. He's trying to build up his career. I understand all that stuff. But everyone on social media was getting mad at this dog for doing his job. He got the bat. I don't know if you saw that, but he got the bat and he brought it back. He did his job. Good boy / girl. I don't know what it was. But good boy / girl. I am very proud of that dog. And now that we know that Kendall George is not significantly hurt, I'm still going to stand up for that dog. You know what? He probably went up to Kendall George and was like, give me some pets. Give me some head scratches. I just want to be your friend. And everyone was getting mad at this dog, Arash, Beav, David. I shouldn't be as upset about this topic as I am right now, but I got to stand up for my dogs. I love animals. I'm not going to let this down.
By the way, you know, the first thing that I thought about, and this is like before a lot of your guys' time, but remember when the Giants they were maybe playing the Angels, David, in the
they were
in the World Series,
2002 World Series.
Dusty Baker's son, like almost got like run over, and it's like,
yeah,
you know,
nobody
like,
was
whether it's a dog or a child. I mean, by the way, that's the World Series, for God's sakes. I mean, that probably should not have happened.
That's a famous clip of him getting pulled out of the way at the last second. I mean, that's. You know, and he's grown up, and he's starting to. It's weird to see him kind of start to have his own career in the league, but That's a famous clip. Here, look at
All
this
right,
one.
look at Grant. Look, you got the clip already. So
Pulling it
this is like the World
Running
Series.
here.
So this is not a
Darren
minor
Erstad,
league
legend.
game.
Halos field the ball. Pulls him out
Saves
of the way.
kid.
He's got the pitching jacket. He's got the coach's
Was
jacket.
that, I think JT Snow was the guy that got him.
Yeah.
Good player, actually. But yeah, look at that.
And what I say, so he's still got the
He's like, I gotta get my helmet.
Gotta get the helmet.
And he's
Very
doing
cute.
his job.
He did his job.
Doing his
He was just
job.
doing his job. Guys, relax.
He's doing his job.
Okay, so here's my 2 cents on the bad dog. When I originally heard about it, I'm like, did this dog just go after a player? Like, the dog did its job. The dog was not at fault here. I think the player again was not seriously injured. Could have probably avoided the dog. Didn't need to be as dramatic. I think that was, don't want to blame the player or the dog, but the dog was not at fault. The issue here is that if there are multiple players, and again, Grant can speak to this in terms of the clubhouse mentality. If there's not, and again, most people are dog lovers, like Grant and most of the crew here. If the guy's face was that of maybe he didn't like the dog to begin with, and if there's enough players in that clubhouse that don't want the dog to be there, the dog's in a bit of a tough spot there, right? The dog's going to be in a tough spot, so we'll see what happens. Again, the hope here is the poor dog got suspended.
Unbelievable.
Shams are Woj graphic. Again, the hope is that the bat dog can come back, but we'll see what the clubhouse vibe is. If they don't want that dog there, I mean, I don't know what's going to happen. But David, your thoughts next.
Oh man, I mean, sounds like a model employee to me. You want him to go get the bat, he goes and he gets the bat. You want my dog to go do that? My dog's probably asleep on the couch right now. He's not going to go retrieve a bat. All right? Granted, I don't know how many bat dogs are 60-pound English bulldogs, but besides the point. Look, sure. All right. So we got the jokes and we have the fun and, we all love dogs and we're never going to say anything negative about a dog. In reality, it is tough to have situations with guys that are looking to be mainstays on your roster. And even the possibility that this could happen, it's as much as I am in favor of how dare you suspend the dog. If he does not come out with a statement in support of the dog, begging them to reinstate him, I will never watch another Tulsa Drillers game as long as I live. But, and that's not, honestly, that's not saying anything. I love minor league baseball. Point is, if you have a situation where there are elements of a gimmick, of a morale booster, where players could get hurt, Murphy's Law. Eventually, anything that can happen will happen. And eventually, worlds will collide. And the player that you don't want to get hurt. I mean, what would the media be saying if this happened to Josue Apollo? To Hope? Guys that are looking to become the mainstays of the new Dodgers. The dog did nothing wrong. Let me say that. But I unfortunately understand where they're coming from. And that pains me because I'm going to be the biggest advocate of the dog was doing his job, her job. It doesn't, what do you want? But I think that teams need to look at, is it stupid to say player safety? I mean, you have these guys that are young prospects. You need to keep them healthy. God forbid, why even take the chance? So, not to play devil's advocate, but maybe they could maybe they could talk with the dog and just kind of let him know what's going on and then reinstate him.
Really quick before Beav goes, I think Beav had a really good point, and I don't know if this is true or not. I think I'm suspecting that the dog has a handler or something.
Yeah.
if that person let the dog go early,
Yeah, well, it's on
that's on the person,
That's
not on
on
the
them.
dog. The dog did its job. Beav, do you agree?
I agree. You know, it's a crazy mixed up world and it's doggy dog world, right? So shout out to Snoop. Shout out to Snoop for that. But the dog did his job. Now, I really want to know about the mechanics behind the scenes because, again, I don't think a dog is just in the dugout chilling and then
I agree.
As soon as the bat being swung, it just runs out. So someone messed up in that bullpen and let the dog go early, which resulted in a human error and almost cost the player his season. Now, promotional wise, right? Tulsa should definitely have a bobblehead of this dog with a bat in his mouth to get the people going because it's the talk of the town. Why not make money off of the talk of the town? You're not making money off of go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, this dog needs decoy to put out a statement. There's no dog beloved more by Dodgers Nation than
by
decoy.
Dodger fans.
By the way, Shohei's
own
has a personality. Shohei's great. Like if Shohei got ahead of this and put out a decoy statement, that would be hilarious. I just thought of that, but yes.
You know, do we have a statement from the Bat Dog?
Right?
Have we received a statement from the Bat Dog themselves? I want to hear.
I'll be the dog's attorney if they need that.
I like that.
That's the perspective I want more than anybody else's. Like, let me hear what the dog has to say.
We won't get that statement the same way we waiting on Victor to give a statement. So we might as well just throw that up.
So he's ignoring the media now?
He's ignoring the media, man. You know, the dog, it is what it is. But again, I'm glad that the player is safe because I can get why the player was frustrated. The frustration might not have been with the dog. It would just be because how everything happened. And, Grant, you know this for a fact, being a baseball player, the struggle in the farm system trying to get out. And at any moment, something goes wrong, you're going to feel like all hell broke loose because of if you're injured, the rehabbing, and got to start this process all over. So I feel this pain a little bit, but let the dog be free. It's okay. And just for people on the internet going crazy, someone said put the dog down. I said that's very extreme.
Oh, come on. Man.
Yeah. You know how the internet goes. It gets out of hand very fast. But it's just let the dog be. Bring the dog program back. But just die it down to the noise die down and then bring it back.
Wait a minute.
By the way, so
go ahead, Arash. Go ahead.
No, really quick. Baseball is a game of statistics. During this time period of this Bat Dog program, I bet you he has successfully completed this 99% of the time. Like, again, I'm thinking back to things that happen in life. Like, remember, like, the person who was working courtside, handing out drinks. She was on the court, like, when she shouldn't have been.
Yeah.
She, like, bumped into LeBron. What if, like, LeBron, like, hurt himself or, like, she spilled a drink and he tore his ACL? Like, again, things happen. No one got hurt. That's right. That's the most important thing. But Grant, I mean, like, I think people are overreacting. This Bat Dog program, to your knowledge, has probably been in place for quite some time. And again, over 99% of the time, the dog, good dog, does its job.
Also, if Kendall George's knee was going to blow out that easily, it probably would have happened anyways. I mean, if he hurt himself jumping 2 feet in the air. And listen, I know I'm like bashing on Kendall George. Like, he's a fantastic prospect. I'm a huge fan of Kendall George. It's just
how you feel about
this dog has made me against Kendall George, but I actually really love the way he plays. I think he's going to be a great player. He reminds me of Chandler Simpson in Tampa. But if he was going to hurt himself on a simple jump like that, he was probably going to hurt himself running the bases as hard as he does or making a diving play in the outfield if his knee was going to give out that easily. So that's another point, too, is that it wasn't like a huge, he didn't even flip in the air and like land awkwardly and tumble down the stairs. It was like a jump over if he was doing box jumps in the weight room, he would have hurt himself.
He would have, Grant, if anything, this dog alerted the Dodgers organization and the Tulsa Drillers that there's a structural problem with the knee and a jump like this could hurt him. got the inevitable out of the way. So if anything, this dog did the Dodgers organization a massive favor by uncovering some sort of weakness in Kendall George's knee.
There you go.
And you suspend him?
I would say this. In the overall schemes of things, the world is right now chaotic, and people need to show grace. Like the way people are so quick to jump and throw dirt or certain opinions over a dog is insane. And just again, show grace. The man is okay. Can we get the dog program back? Because if this affects ticket sales, you know how people love their bottom line. They try to make money, and if Tulsa is starting to lose money, that dog will be back before it probably be 4 dogs on the field getting bats.
It'll be 4 dogs. They'll have a jersey. They'll have a theme night. They'll have a change of identity and a bobblehead, like you said.
Don't let the Savannah Bananas get a hold of this. It'll be dogs out there batting at the on the mound before you know it. That dog would be on the Savannah Bananas with a jersey on, chasing bats all day and night. So, again, let the dog show some grace, and Tulsa Drillers, get it right. I know it's a human error somewhere. Get it right,
please.
Well, by the way, what a great moment for the Tulsa Drillers. Like, no one's talked about the Tulsa Drillers or the Bat Dog or whatever this much. So, like, you know, they got what they probably wanted from this. Again, the happy ending to the story is if the Bat Dog comes back and shares a moment, a photo op with the player in question as well. You know,
I think let's make amends here. Let's reconcile.
Speaking of dogs,
yes,
the Clippers have one. They have a dog on their team. They have multiple dogs. But their biggest dog is Kawhi Leonard. And there's a lot of speculation about this. There's a lot of speculation about which direction the Clippers are going to go. Are they going to trade one Kawhi Leonard? Are they going to keep him? Are they going to give him an extension? I have seen every possible angle of this. And I was just wondering, from all of your guys' perspectives, I know this is a crazy transition, but this has been on my mind. I don't know what the Clippers should do with Kawhi Leonard. Arash, you know that Kawhi Leonard made an All-NBA team. You know that how good he was. He looked like a top 5 to 6 player at times this season. That's how good he was.
Yeah.
They already traded away James Harden and Ivica Zubac, so they kind of semi-rebuilt. What do you think they should do?
So I think the big next shoe that we're going to drop, and to be honest, we've almost forgotten about it because it was not a part of your question, Grant, and for a good reason. Again, this has lingered on for too long. The NBA commissioner, after the NBA finals, before the draft, like after the finals, I believe during that window, we will find out some clarity in terms of the aspiration investigation. It's been going on far too long. I think people have kind of like moved on, but we do get some clarity there. I don't think they void the contract. I think that would be, quite frankly, helping the Clippers. So I do think that they have to move on. I think you would sell Kawhi at a high point. If you could trade Kawhi following the season that he had when he was one of the top 10 players in the league, I think you are going to get something in return, which may not have been the case in the past. But I really love what this team has done. You know, when you mentioned how they traded Ivica Zubac and they traded James Harden, just great trades. You know, when you look now at what they've done, acquiring that top 5 pick, really putting together a good young team that Clipper fans can be proud of. You know, not that I don't think Kawhi can help. And again, Kawhi has been such a big part of this team, but I just think it's time to turn the page. But again, Grant and David and Beav, you guys are far better qualified for me to touch on this topic.
Go ahead, fellas.
I would say this. It's about time to turn the page on the 2-1-3 era. As much as we might sit here and lavish in the Kawhi having a good year, this Kawhi year is like the Zubac year, right? Zubac had a great year. What you do? Sell high. Kawhi had a phenomenal year. What do you do right now? You sell high. It's about time to rebuild, and it's about time to do an aggressive rebuild, because if you're sitting here thinking that you should extend Kawhi, that's not what you should do, because this team is not going to get a championship the following year or the year after that. It's going to take some time. And if you're sitting here thinking like, hey, maybe we should keep Kawhi around, I don't like keeping veterans, because what veterans do when they don't start winning, they get very disgruntled. And what that does, it messes up the chemistry in the locker room. So now you're sitting here trying to figure out what you're going to do with this all-star veteran, whatever you want to call it. And I'll definitely say sell high, and you need to sell for picks. You need to put your OKC hat on and understand that we need to get picks, because because as the draft is starting to change, as Adam Silver has put in a new draft lottery thing, they're going to vote on it pretty soon in regards to that. The trade that you're making is going to be good because now teams cannot tank at a high clip, right? Your pick is going to be valuable whenever you decide to make a pick with. So now you need to logically think, what is my return going to be? I do not want veterans that are necessarily fighting father time. I want youth. And I want decent draft picks to where even if it falls, like, for example, teams like Utah and Washington cannot secure the top seeds again, I wouldn't mind making a draft pick with a team that I know that could probably definitely get in the top 5 or somewhere in the top 6 where I can squeeze in there again and get another top draft pick. So just be wise and be very smart, Lawrence Frank, in what you're going to do.
Now's the time. Right? The timelines have gone away from each other. For a while, it made sense. For a while, you had Kawhi and you had James, and potentially you're going to have Zoo and you're going to build them all up. But an opportunity opened its door, and now you are sitting with the 5th overall pick by, some will say, sheer will. No Clipper fan will ever admit that it's divine intervention. Who knows? You have a young Darius Garland, who you got for James Harden, who's in the national news for doing what he always does, and now you look like you just fleeced the Cleveland Cavaliers, and you have all this cap room, all these younger guys you can bring in, the Sanders, the Yannick, the Miller, and they have set themselves to say in 2027, we will have all the cap room in the world. We will not hold ourselves up. We will not tie contracts together. That's what got James out of there, was he wanted that extension, and they didn't want to tie themselves up. And the same thing goes with Kawhi. You have him at his hottest. You have him at his best. And now is the time where love him, love what he's done, great player to watch. He's just too old. This team has a golden opportunity to escape a weird, confusing, pessimistic, optimistic era, the 2-1-3 era, and right out of there with a top pick, more picks. And I don't want a guy like Jimmy Butler. I don't want a guy like whoever. I don't want a guy
Julius
like
Randle
Julius
and
Randle.
Rudy Gobert. Do you see
Rudy
that
Gobert.
package?
None of that.
Are you kidding?
I think that I am a fan personally of two very different ball clubs. And I know people are going to say, oh, the Clippers and Angels they're the same thing.
I disagree.
When Shohei Ohtani was going to be a free agent and the Angels had all these opportunities to trade him, they could have got with the Rays, they could have went to Merrill, they could have went with Wood and Abrams. All these all these opportunities. They sat on it. They were stubborn. They didn't know what to do. They said, we don't want to change. And look where they are now. Nothing. Lawrence Frank, on the other hand, even back when Chris Paul said, I'm done, even back when they looked Blake Griffin in the eyes and said, your name will go up in those rafters. I remember exactly where I was when they traded him, and I didn't know what that was going to look like, but they said, hey, we're doing all this to pivot into the next era. If we don't trade him now, we're done. And that's how it felt with Ivica Zubac, who I will go on the record here saying is one of my favorite Clippers of all time.
I agree.
And I have nothing but love and respect and joy watching him play and watching him grow. And I genuinely will always wish him the best in his career. And a little piece of me is a Pacers fan just because of him and him alone. But if you get an offer you can't refuse.
100%.
What do you do? And I
hold that thought. We're going to close out the show on terrestrial radio, but we always encourage you, tune in on X. Crazy things can happen. John Browner curses. We'll see what David Bloom does. But for right now, that is all the time we have. Please join us again tomorrow, and stay safe and stay healthy.
Now let's get into it. David, continue.
Sorry, I got a little carried away.
Yeah.
I was enjoying it. You know, me and Beav are enjoying it. Please.
I'm listening. I'm locked in.
Yeah.
No, good. We're at a point where the same opportunity can come up with Kawhi.
Yeah.
Teams are desperate. Teams are looking for that extra push, and you have a guy that has shown that he can go win Finals MVP for 2 different conferences. So now, take advantage.
Do you think he could still do that?
Package.
Do you think he could still do that, David? And the reason why I say that is because
I know
as good as Kawhi was in the regular season, as dominant as he was, and I mean, me and Beav were at every home game, essentially. We saw how phenomenal he looked, both physically, both and mentally. He was a leader for the first time in a while of a young unit, and he actually took a lot of young guys under his wing. But that play-in game, right, where you expect a Kawhi Leonard to rise to the occasion, you expect him to be able to defeat a old Warriors team that was banged up. He only had 21 points, and he barely got to 21 points. He had 2 points in the fourth quarter. And my question to everyone that wants to, well, not question, but basically my statement to anyone that wants to keep Kawhi Leonard on the Clippers and be like, well, look at how good he was last season. Like, he could carry the Clippers to the finals. And I don't think he can anymore. That's not a knock on Kawhi Leonard. I just don't think that he can do it as a number one option anymore. I think he can be an all-NBA caliber player, an all-star player.
Yes, he
right,
can.
Arash?
But I don't think as a number one guy, you're 100% right. But I think what he proved this season, and the other thing that I just, there's something about this guy, and we've seen it in glimpses, and it's so sad we haven't seen more of it. There's something about this guy in the playoffs that, like, I really think if you're a team that thinks that you're one player away, and again, not as the number one guy, but as like the final piece of the final piece of the puzzle, yes. It's just one of those things where, like, we have not seen him have sustained health, and but when we have seen him in the playoffs, you know, you go back to the way that he performed in 2021, and then even against Phoenix, it's like, man, there are glimpses where you see why this guy is one of the best players on the planet. Now, again, not as the number one guy at this point of his career, but I don't know what that list of teams can look like, and I don't know what you can get in return, but I do agree with you guys. This is not about giving it a Jimmy Butler, or it's like this is they have turned the page, and they're going to try to make a really good young team. But at the very least, what Kawhi finished off this past season with was a great season. It wasn't like he was hurt. It wasn't like his meniscus is like shot. Like, at the very least, you're trading a player. But the big, like, elephant in the room is this darn investigation. And I really do believe, like, the day after the finals, we're going to get, and again, Silver will address the media before, I think, game one of the finals or something along that lines. And I think at that point, he'll make it official that, like, this is a little bit like the John Morant investigation, where he didn't want to overshadow the finals. And it was literally the day after the finals, or at some point. And you really have to kind of do it if you're being respectful prior to the draft. Like, depending on what happens, like, that could impact what. So I really do believe in that window of time, post NBA Finals, prior to the draft, we'll find out how that changes things. I don't know, but man, I mean, just I agree with Beav, and I agree with you guys. Like, I think that they have to turn the page now.
And the thing about it, and I have to ask Clipper fans, if there are any Clipper fans watching this, is with Kawhi Leonard on this iteration of the team, are they going to win a championship?
No.
Right? I heard a no. I heard another no. I heard another no. They're not winning a championship with Kawhi Leonard on this current roster. And what is the goal of the Los Angeles Clippers in, now we can say, the long run? Because it feels like they're playing for the long run. They're no longer like in contention mode right now. It is to win a title in Los Angeles, to win a championship. And we have seen teams go about acquiring assets. The main knock on the Clippers is that they are asset deprived. They don't have the picks. They don't have the young players. They don't have the future capital. That's what everyone clowns the Clippers for. And this is their... Again, I have to preface this because Kawhi Leonard is phenomenal. He is still phenomenal. He has essentially been healthy for a full year and a half now, since he had that knee scope at the beginning of the 24-25 season. Yes, he had some ankle sprains and contusions here and there this season, but it's not like structural things where it's like, oh my God, he missed 2 months. He has been very healthy, and I'm going to knock on every piece of wood I have in this office right here so that it doesn't happen. But if you have an opportunity to capitalize on the peak Kawhi value that you don't know how he's going to look next year, you don't know how healthy he's going to be next year. It's just what comes with the Kawhi territory. You have to capitalize on trading that value right now to acquire more assets. What they got in the Ivica Zubac trade and the James Harden trade was fantastic. I agree there. Don't stop there. Go get more.
Oh.
Like, if you're going to go half rebuild, go full. And I know that Steve Ballmer doesn't like to do that, but I guarantee you, if the Clippers trade away Kawhi and get great draft capital and maybe a young player or two, I'm not saying a superstar, they're going to be competitive. They have a pretty decent roster that'll be in the play-in, maybe playoff mix this next season. So it's not like they're going to crater. Mm-hmm. Like, I just think it's a perfect time to at least be aggressive in trying to. Now, if you don't get a package that you like, don't take it. Don't just do it to do it. You got to get back something that helps you in the long run. And I know I love Law Murray. He's an awesome reporter. And he's basically just talking about the package that the Clippers would take as optimal. But this one from Minnesota is absolutely atrocious. It's getting Julius Randle, Gobert, and a 28th pick for Kawhi Leonard.
So what he's saying in that draft pick is that it's going to be, you take players back that can necessarily keep fans in those seats. And what I mean by that is
Randall's not moving any needle.
He's not moving a needle, but it keeps you within the play-in and it keeps you within that lower tier range to be competitive, right? Because at the end of the day, you want to be competitive. But I will say this as a statement that you made. You said Steve Ballmer doesn't like to blow it up and start all over. Well, you had to start all over when you built the Intuit Dome, right? You had to build it from the ground up. So to understand that, you got to build a team from the ground up. You can't keep attaching yourself to old Clipper stuff. Every time you attach yourself to old Clipper things, it doesn't work in your favor, right? And people can argue me down. They say, well, the next thing you can say is get rid of Ty Lue, get rid of the medical staff, all that type of stuff. Yes, you can go that extreme, but I'm not going that extreme. It's as simple as stop shooting yourself in the foot. When you have capital, stop wasting capital on veterans that you can think that can help you, that can work together. 2 veterans that you can combine from 2 different teams can give me a championship. This is not the Heat. This is not LeBron, D Wade, and Chris Bosh. This is not the Boston Celtics when you have Paul Pierce, Ray Allen, and Kevin Garnett. That's not happening anymore. Those type of teams are not being built anymore. What's being built is the youth and players that you can plug and play at certain key positions, right? I keep going back to OKC. OKC is showing that Jalen Williams is now expendable. He's expendable now. Why? Because you have McCann, you have Carson Wallace, you have all these other players, you have rookies that haven't even played yet, right? The Clippers need to build a team to where when players think that they are here to stay forever, no, you are very expendable. Because I have another young player, I have a bench that is ready to perform. And if the Clippers, like you said earlier, are building to have money in the future, that money needs to be spent wisely. Stop going out to get a champion, a veteran that probably won, I would say, like Steph Curry, won multiple championships with the Warriors, right? Do not get him in his late 40, 35, 36, 37. Them years is long gone. If I wanted Steph, I wanted him early in his career when he was balling. I do not want Steph close to his 40-year range. Now he's looking like Klay Thompson out there in Dallas. So the Clippers need to understand, stop trying to chase legends and actually build your legend right in your backyard.
Build them. And when it comes to that philosophy, they've kind of already started. I mean, for the first time in a long time, we saw a trade that wasn't go get one of those guys you mentioned, Beav. It was go capitalize on James Harden's peak with the Clippers and get a guy who's 26 years old. Get a guy who has his career ahead of him. And with Zazu, I understand that he still is going to be great in this league for a while. You have an opportunity where you can capitalize on his peak, and you do it, and it's 2 for 3 right now. You are 2 for 3. It's it's a philosophy where, and I'm sure all Clipper fans can attest to this, the Clips have had so many opportunities and so many teams that were supposed to do so much more. And so many years before that of just losing and misery and terrible ownership and star players that would get injured all the time. And it finally felt when Chris Paul came that we were going to get our chance, and it didn't work out. And then 2019, Kawhi decides to come. We get Paul George. Oh my God. You put them with Trez and Lou and Bev, and league screwed. Mm-hmm. And that doesn't work out. So you just are trying to see one go through as hard as you can. And the problem is trying to tell a Clipper fan, you got to wait longer. It's very difficult. You don't want to wait longer. I want next year. I want to win a championship next year. I want you to go get Giannis and this and that and put together the winning team. But as you sit here and you think about it realistically, the Thunder are where they are because they did what the Clippers are afraid to do. And if I were Ballmer or I were Lawrence Frank, I would look for that team that is convinced, like Cleveland, like Indiana, are convinced they're one player away, one veteran away, one guy with experience away. You go and you get him, and now all of a sudden, oh my God, why did they take on Kawhi's contract? Why did they bring him on? Why did they give the Clippers all this? You want to be the Thunder. You want to be the Thunder now to the Clippers now. You want to have a 2019 Paul George style trade, obviously not to that extreme, but you want a trade where you look back and say, why in the world did they trade for Kawhi Leonard? What idiots. How could they give the Clippers all these assets? And if you don't find that, Grant, you're right. You hold. You don't just trade to trade. But they have such an opportunity. It is a culture shift. It is a paradigm shift right now in Clipper Nation. And they need to do everything they can to build this new 2026 and on Clippers and get rid of the 2-1-3 era for good and move on and let Garland, let those guys, let the fifth pick, let them lead the team and really embrace not the rebuild, but it's
new era. It's
new
a new
logo,
era.
New jerseys, new era. It's time. It is about time.
I would say call me crazy, but the team that had SGA, it had Pat Bev,
Pat Bev,
Trez. That was the era in which all you had to do was just keep tweaking it a little bit, right? Just tweak it.
Learn.
What did you do? Blow it up. You blew it up to a whole other level.
All the way up.
And it's like, what are you doing, right? So again, me being a Clipper fan, Grant, my brother from another mother, he understands what we be going through night in and night out. We even we report on them now. We be sitting there together like this. Look, this is how we look at them every night. So they just got to figure it out. And again, Lawrence Frank, you're on notice, buddy. I just got to say, you're on notice this year.
We're on Lawrence Frank watch again.
We're
watching again.
Because he like you said, he's 2 out of 3. What is this magic trick behind door number 3? If it's not A cuff, I'm losing it. I'm telling you, my pick sign is ready. I just made it today.
All right, guys. Another amazing show. Love this crew so much. Let's do it again tomorrow, guys. Thanks. And listen, if you're a Clippers fan, you're not going to get more passionate Clippers talk than these guys right here. So stick with us as we go into a very exciting summer here. There we go, David. Thank you.